Today we talk about why we follow the content creators we love and this particular thing that apparently Joshua hates that I actually do. I learn a lot of things in our weekly podcasts, including things in my own relationships. Hopefully, you guys pick something important up as well, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. So,
Okay.
I think it's your turn.
Oh, it's my turn. Okay. Let me just clean my glasses real quick. So I've
What's
had
happening?
a little story, and I will say that this is the residual effect of being who we are. If we can help out or treat our family members, we absolutely can. Not to say that this is the norm in any sense of the word, so don't go trying to be an influencer just because of this. But I do have a sponsor that has in sponsorship given me a number of glasses that I've worn on many different videos. I have to work on that.
Yeah.
I have to work on that spot a little bit later after the show.
And they look good, the glasses. Like, I especially like the ones with what was it?
The,
The one you showed off in that other episode.
the rimless, yeah. And these are
Yes,
what
I
I call,
love those.
and these are what I call the Tito glasses.
Yeah, my brother has the exact same pair. You both are titos, I guess.
Yeah. So in for this upcoming campaign that had to be incessantly delayed because of the fires and I couldn't work and all that. I have to finish it basically tonight. So it's going to be an all-nighter for me potentially. Anyway, they sent me one wrong pair, which was a non-prescription pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses. Now I know when I say Ray-Ban, people are their eyebrows are gonna raise and they're gonna be like, "Ooh, that's expensive." Okay, this particular sponsor, they actually have really good prices on stuff like this, so it's actually not that bad. But it is considered their premium pair. Well, no one in the house wanted that pair, and then my cousin recently celebrated a birthday, so I was like, "There you go." And he looked at me and he was like, "You're giving me Ray-Bans for my birthday?" And I was like, "Well, let me tell you the story." And then I told him the story that I just shared.
You know what you did, though? You just upped the whole, like, level of gift giving in your family.
It's okay. Like, it was just one of those things where I had to make it clear, like, I thought about you because you
Yeah.
like this kind of stuff. You like, premium items, much like I do. And I understand that you'll probably like this. So it's your birthday and I
Yeah.
have an extra pair and here you go. Anyway. All right. So that small, cold, open story aside, hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I'm JV
Hi, Misa.
and we are technically together.
together. We finally got that right! Did
It
I
only
scream when
took
you
6
out?
episodes.
Yeah, did I scream? Yeah, I scream. I have to stop screaming. It's really a pain to edit the levels. And before we start, you guys, quick podcast update. We are looking and I'm hoping sounding very good right now because I have the complete setup, the complete Joshua prescribed setup, the C something mic. No, webcam.
Logitech.
And if you've noticed, I have changed the profile colors on it to my liking, which is more to the blue purple side.
Yeah, you
It's
found
not.
the settings.
It's not.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's not so. How it comes out of the box, it's a little like way too real. So yeah, I like this, and then also the Razer Siren. I think it's called Siren. Some people say Siren. I mean, it makes sense if it's Siren.
It
It's
does.
pink. That's all you need to know. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I found the settings on here too. Like it can do this side and that side and both sides. This is the first time I'm recording with this mic, so let's see how it goes in the editing back end side. But yeah, this should be the complete setup. Thank you to my sponsor of his mind, Joshua.
Well, I'm glad that it's working out, and it's already. I mean, we've used the webcam a few times
Yeah.
already for calls. So, and you've been using it for Zoom calls, and I'm sure
Yeah.
people are happy with it. So
And
that's
even
good.
for my and even for my videos, I tried this once and I was like, wait, that sounds way better even just on my desk.
That
And
was
I'm
what I
like,
was going to say. Was you did a video most recently, fairly recently, about the Asus ZenBook 14, and I made a cameo in it. But yeah, you the audio and that sounded really good. And the thing is,
Yeah.
it's also set dressing, because it just so happened that that mic was pink, and then I was like, oh well,
Yeah.
if ever there was going to be a mic in your shot in a video, it would have to be something like this.
To be honest, babe, the only reason why I've strayed away from the whole mic setup was that to me it looked way too serious, you know. It didn't like you know how particular I am. No, I know, but that's how like a lot of tech videos look. And
Yeah.
that's how a lot of tech videos want to make their videos look. They want to make it look like you're a tech YouTuber, and there is a certain look, dramatic lighting, no background light except for one accent light, and then one side of your face is in the shadows, and it's all just dramatic. So when you click that video, you know it's a tech video. Versus if you're like a beauty or makeup YouTuber and it's a different look, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, wait.
You mentioned
go
that
on,
a lot.
sorry.
You mentioned that a lot. The dichotomy of your content to
Oh, no,
the
it's not my
tropes of
content.
tech YouTubers, you know, and because there's a
It's
certain
not.
like it comes off as you always it comes off as you saying half the time like you really don't want to be that too, which is not
No,
a
it's
bad
not.
thing.
Wait. Let me explain. It's not that content. I say that in particular because I only realized that. For me, it was visual cues. For me, I watch things because of certain visual things. And I did not realize that until I was talking to another tech YouTuber friend who wanted to fix his lighting, and he was pointing to something that he couldn't describe, and I was talking about a completely different thing, and I made the pinpoint difference, and I never thought about it that way, and that's when my mind clicked. But speaking about the dichotomy, that's something I have also recently realized. To my mind, I'm like, it has to be this way or that way, but you're right, and I know you've been telling me this, like the whole point of it it's a mix and you're in between.
Yeah.
So I am consciously actually trying to stop creating that dichotomy in my content,
Yeah.
like very consciously. Even in the last 2 weeks, I don't know if you've noticed, even like my posts and everything have been like consciously just embracing the whole, it's a whole package. But to the people who are listening, this is what I mean when I say I get into my head. See, that whole issue, that raging issue, is only in my head. And Joshua is, you know, the audience to the theater that is my mind. And it takes a tiny bit for me to get it. But I think, babe, it's not me not listening. It's me just trying to wrap my brain around it too. Because it
Yeah.
never really clicked.
Well, you just you put a lot of, and it's an interesting conversation in and of itself because you as a creator, you have these preconceived notions of what this category of creator is and what that category of creator is. And you came into, well, this is just from my perspective, you can correct me. You came into this sort of world of ours telling yourself and being very clear with yourself that you are not going to be X, Y, Z, you will be something else, or you will do this, you will do this differently, you will do that differently. And it's like, you know what? It just comes down to this whole thing of the more lines you draw, the more work you're making for yourself because you have to adhere to one style and then you in one place, and then you have to have another style in another place. And honestly, you remember when I started my channel after leaving Android Authority, people were asking me, people were very skeptical about the direction I wanted my channel to go, and they were like, so is it going to be like all smartphones, or are you going to go into this category? I hear you want to get into gaming, are you going to make a gaming channel? And I was like, honestly, the name of the channel is Joshua Vergara. It is all me, so it will all be there. And you know, we had this conversation very recently that I was just like, you know what, if you're going to be drawing lines between your YouTube content lifestyle and you don't want to be seen as like a straight tech YouTuber, guess what, babe, even if your stuff looks different, you are a tech YouTuber. Like that's just what you are now.
I mean,
And there's
for
nothing
me,
wrong
it's
with
not.
that.
Yeah, it's not so much differentiating myself, but it's sending cues to the audience that I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Like
fine.
it's not for me saying I'm different, I'm a butterfly. It's for the people who look at it, who get those visual cues. Because I know personally that's how I end up clicking videos or thumbnails. There's certain things I see in the video that I like. I kid you not, there is a higher percentage of me clicking a video with like cutesy, like a tech video, and this, you rarely see this, right? But like a cutesy thumbnail of like, I don't know, glitters or sparkles or smiley faces or pink or purple on it, because these are things that I personally like more, versus the typical thumbnail where there's no face and there's no, it's just the phone. You get what I mean? Like, and I know people who would click videos if they're just tech, because to them, I am here for the tech.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a matter of preference. And for me, it was hyper focusing on me as an audience. But the problem with hyper focusing on details like that is that somewhere along the line you lose sight of the bigger picture, which is like stop hyper focusing on that and just, create that type of content, whether it be the way you were thinking or another way. The whole point of what we do is that you have to be dynamic. You have to sit down, look at what you want as an ends, and realize that the means could be very different to the same ends.
Absolutely. And it's this whole idea that if we are very specific about who we want to reach with our content, we unwittingly create our own niches. And sometimes those niches are kind of barren. There aren't that many people there. And if we want to, well, maybe not at the moment, or maybe they're just not as engaged at the moment. So in order for us to eventually reach those people, we have to gain notoriety so that we can start building that niche.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
there's a chicken and the egg in that sense. And the thing is, you just posted, I think it was yesterday or the day before, like you have been achieving what you have set out to do. Your channel demographics are fairly balanced, at least way more balanced than most people. Let's just say that.
Yeah, but I always say this, babe. Thank you. I acknowledge, I appreciate. Thank you for pointing it out. I always need that, but I still want more. Also,
Well,
I just
literally we all think that
Yeah.
way. Like there's no,
Yeah.
you don't have to apologize for wanting more, because we all want more. We all want it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing I tell you all the time. Like if you like, here's the thing: if you're going to stress yourself, and I need to be told this sometimes as well. If you're going to stress yourself out over the goals that you have in mind so much, think of it this way: when you achieve those goals, are you going to stop?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that mean that you have achieved everything and then you're going to stop your YouTube channel? No, you're going to keep going. I recently hit a milestone on my channel, but I don't want to say it out loud because it has to do with money.
What?
But the
I hit a
the-
milestone too. It's probably like an I don't know how to do math, but really tiny compared to yours. But yes.
well, let's just say it's been, as far as engagement goes, which obviously turns into monetary gains. Let's just say it's been a very good last couple of months, and part of that is because of the devices that have been coming out, and it's going to continue because October is already stressing me out. And it's not,
Techtober, yeah.
yeah, and so I got to get on top of all of these things. The thing is, I lost a week and a half, so I'm a little bit stressed out about catching up. So
But-
all-nighters will be a common thing this particular week, I have a feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's also like, how the other episode we talked about setting expectations. It's the same way. Because I came into like the last few months, like not being very happy about how my channel progress has been. And then I realized that earlier in the year, no, actually last year, jokingly, remember I used to say this, I would have made it if I have Dyson products to review. And I've been getting them. But because I was hyper focusing on other goalposts that I just thought of along the way, I forgot that that was one of my goalposts. Remember, I used to joke about this. I'd be like, "Yeah, I would have made it if I could afford, if I can like I figure out how to review all these Dyson stuff because I love them. To me, like it's a pinnacle of like tech that thinks about this specific niche, blah 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 blah." And now I have them, and I'm like, dude, what, you like this was something unthinkable to the point that it was a joke goal last year.
Yep.
So
And now you have it. And on the topic of Dyson, I actually have something to mention. I picked up a refurbished Dyson air purifier. For how much? Can you tell me, having done Dyson content and also Dyson, like you have worked with the brand more than I have ultimately. For how expensive they are, I wasn't expecting them to be so plasticky.
they are very plasticky, but what's expensive is how it's their engines. So
Sure.
their engines are specific Dyson technology, and so the fans I've tried out, not really as noticeable versus like if it's a hair dryer or a vacuum, you really feel the power in it. Maybe it's
But
because
also
the
those the fan the what you just said it, the hair dryers, the hair products, and
supersonic.
the
Yeah.
the hair products and the vacuums, they actually feel like $500 plus products. But this air purifier slash fan, like it had, the whole thing is encased in like the shiny glossy
Yeah.
plastic that we hate phones having.
Don't they have like maybe you have like the older model? Because they
Maybe.
have like gunmetal finishes now
Oh yeah, this one
and
was like
stuff like
white and
that.
gray, which
Yeah.
is probably not the right colorway for this material. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
just a thought that I had, and then and the instruction booklet actually tells you to basically baby the thing, like don't pick it up from these parts of the fan. And I was like, oh my god, like I paid so much money for this thing, like why do I have to be so delicate with it? You know, it's just
I mean, sometimes it's a different. I don't know, babe. I'm not gonna just. I have no idea. Like fans in their lineup is the thing that I have least dealt with.
okay.
Definitely vacuums. Definitely the hair stuff. The fans I've tried like only I think the pure cool,
Yeah, that's the one I
and
have.
even then,
So
oh,
I don't
even then
know.
I didn't like. Yeah, I shot a video of trying it, but I never really like used it at an everyday level. So that's I guess the difference.
Yeah,
Although I
well,
will highly recommend still their vacuums because man, that thing, yeah.
yeah, it's sitting in my office now, and hopefully I will actually be able to be in my office to do work this week, because it's I've had these things over the last week or so where if I have calls, like let's say even this is technically a call, I have to do it here because this is the set I created during COVID for calls, Zoom
Calls.
calls, you know, video
See, yeah.
podcasts and all that. So I had a call basically every day this past week, and sure enough, like no time in my office. So I have to make that effort this week if I'm going to get any of the stuff that's building up or piling up done. Anyway, trials and tribulations of the YouTuber. It is the way that it is. And I think, you know, to keep on the topic of sort of creators and YouTubers, I think one of the things that we thought about talking about for this episode, at least for a little while, is just sort of paying a bit of, like, spreading a bit of the praise around.
Yeah, so it's funny because I let's keep judgment out of this. I'm not even gonna explain myself, but I've been on TikTok and I love it, and it's true what they say about the algorithm, and it's true what they say about how funny people are on TikTok. It's
Sure.
like it's just amazing. I love it. And I found this couple. And you know me, I'm not the cheesy type. You know this. So it's not like I actually follow couples on babe. But it's not, but my point is it's not like I particularly follow couples on social media. It's like because there are people who go gaga over that, right? Like they're so kilig, and like especially in the Philippines, the land of telenovelas where love teams are an actual thing, you know, in on and off camera love teams. Like we have YouTubers who are love teams. So I mean it's a whole thing.
Could you explain
I've never
can you explain the term love team?
what? So basically, what happens is that you usually you headline a show and you have a leading man, and then like because people are so invested in this relationship, like this couple will probably have X number of movies and shows that they are the love team. And so like even and so that whole love team situation even seep into real life to the point that sometimes when they decide to break away, like people hate on the actual partner
Yeah.
or when they decide to do different. So like it's a crazy whole thing. And you know, I've never been into it, but there's this new couple that I follow on TikTok, and I sent you a TikTok. It's Chris and Ian. So there's
Oh,
this
the relationship one.
gay, yeah. So they're this gay couple, one's younger and one's older. But then so what happens is Chris says something or does something to Ian, and Ian just goes on these
Oh,
complete tangents.
it was
But
the
they're feel good tangents too.
It was the "Would you just calm down" challenge.
Yeah,
So these
yeah,
challenges, and I'll explain the challenges because I've seen a few of them, and usually, and the ones that I've seen usually end in they crash and burn like crazy.
yeah,
Anyway, this particular challenge was the "Would you please calm down? Would you just calm down?" Not even please.
yeah,
It's not even polite. It's just.
yeah,
So the whole idea is you start recording your social media video. In this case, TikTok. It's happened on Reels. It's happened on Snapchat. And you say the phrase out of nowhere, no context given, and you just record the other person's reaction. Real quick before you explain this particular TikTok, the one I saw which crashed and burned horribly was this Asian couple, and they both got into his Tesla first of all, and the guy has the front facing camera, and he's just kind of holding it like this to just sort of like record it without her really realizing. And the thing he says is that what you're wearing today? And it's just such this like vitriolic sentence, and you have to know as a boyfriend that you don't say it, especially like that. And
yeah,
because this particular challenge, it ended in tears because the girlfriend was saying, "I just spent the last half hour literally picking out things that I knew you liked." And he kept egging it on because
yeah.
it's a prank, bro.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it ends in tears, and he has to go running after her and telling her it's a joke, it's a joke, it's a prank, it's
Yeah.
just for TikTok, it's just for TikTok.
Okay. Yeah. So first of all, what
Here
I
comes
love
a
about this
wholesome one.
couple, yeah. No, what I love about this couple is they try to make it more wholesome.
Yes.
So they pick out challenges and they do their little spin. Sometimes if it's not so good, sometimes But the thing is, this guy, the other guy in the couple, Ian, has these whole complete tangents, and he just like runs away with it. That's sometimes like the prankster person gets 3 words in and he's the whole TikTok just running away with his thoughts.
Yeah.
So in this particular TikTok, like he walks in the room and so the prankster Chris goes like, "Can you just calm down?" And he goes like, so he freaks out at first and he's like, what do you mean calm down? It feels like you're feeling something that you're projecting on me. But then it turns into this whole tangent where he goes, it feels like you are having a whole conversation in your head that I am not privy to, and therefore you're just bursting out at me with these comments like, "Can you please calm down?" And it's so funny because you can see it in his face. You can see the switch. And then he goes, "And I definitely get that because and then he calms down because he realizes it. He goes, "I do that a lot to you." And then he actually like quiets down, sits down and goes, "I'm calm. I don't know why." But let's talk about. And I'm like, that's so cute. Like
It's
I
the right reaction.
totally get that. Yeah, but I totally get that because I have all these tangents in my head, and I completely feel what he was like feeling, but he was big enough to just take it and accept it and correct himself. And so that's a lot of how their TikToks are. And it's so funny because of how they react to things and how they communicate things. And there are like a whole other host of like different ones with different challenges. Like stuff like what's this? I forget. What was something about going on OnlyFans challenge, and then he goes like, "Do you can I be on OnlyFans?" And the guy goes like, "I would like you not to be on OnlyFans, but if that is what you want, even if I don't like it." But my point is like in this relationship there was so much freedom, and they always say bloom where like there was another TikTok where they were talking about I forget what, but it's basically asking for compliments. And then the
Oh,
whole tangent.
I think I might have seen a compliment one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And then the whole tangent went to, "Why are you asking for other people to water you? Water your own garden. We all need to bloom." So that's why they keep on telling people to bloom. So it's all wholesome. It's all positive. And they also do these TikToks where like they go both look into the frame and the question is how to be happy. And then it's all self-empowerment. And it's like I love it. I love it because it makes sense. It's smart. It's not stupid for the sake of TikTok. It's not taking itself too seriously, but also I realize that I watch a lot of creators because I want to be their friend.
Yeah.
They usually seem like the people that I would be so happy to hang out with.
Totally. That's pretty
you
much
know.
everyone that I've ever watched on YouTube ever. And I don't think I've ever followed creators on social media to that extent. It's always been YouTube. So I definitely was a product of early days of YouTube. But anyway, before I move into my side of who I follow, what creators I want to give shout outs to in a sense, when you sent me that particular couple's TikTok, you remember what I said was, what's funny is in our relationship, I feel like I don't really have those reactions. The whole idea of I had the whole conversation in my head already. That's a little bit more Issa than me in the context of
Yeah.
our relationship. And it's not even outbursts of like, it's not as if the one that always used to annoy me in previous relationships was when we would wake up in the morning and the other person would already be pissed at me because of something they dreamt. And I was just like, this is very irrational, first of all. And then I had to play damage control the entire day for something that literally never happened. So those were the things that were annoying for sure. In our case, though, the context for us would be like if Issa, if you need to tell me or inform me of something, you may or may have already had that conversation in your head. So when you
Yeah.
ask me about it, you expect me to already know all the
Yeah.
details about it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, explain to me that again. And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
let me add another wrinkle to this because I see it with a lot of couples who are around me, myself, my brother and his wife as well. Whenever I don't know how you feel about this. Maybe, as honestly, listeners and viewers, comment in the YouTube side if you have experienced this before. Do you ever feel the sort of like sting of when a sentence starts with the word "babe"? Because
What?
there's always a connotation, and okay, it's not a connotation that is deliberate. It's just when a sentence starts like this, babe, and when it starts like that, it's almost as if you should know.
I do
is
that.
is the rest of the
I
sentence.
do that. I do that a lot.
You do that.
I do that a lot.
And I have to remember that it doesn't come from a place of you're actually mad at me for either not knowing something or not cluing into something right away. It's just the tone. And this is sort of like where I would come from when I would say, we should probably be a bit more mindful of our tone with one another.
For context, I'm also very whiny. And for context, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I've been told that I can sound very annoyed at people even when I
Yes.
feel like I'm not. So I totally get where you're coming from there. Not like I don't get it, but I get it because
Let me give you a
if I take a step back,
Yes.
I've heard people tell me that.
And as
That
somebody
if they
who
yeah.
and as somebody who I get, just as Itza said earlier, she gets into her head about stuff a lot. When it comes to me, the last thing I want to do is make someone misconstrue my feelings about them. So I get in my head about the way I communicate. Now, granted, if I'm upset or frustrated, that's a whole different story. But in general speak, I'm very calculating about the way I structure my sentences, how I sound. And Issa knows this because she has pointed it out before. But here's a very simple example of how this could go wrong. Real conversation. Not that we didn't have. I've heard this before. It's like, oh man, I really feel like having some sort of sweets right now. The other person goes, okay. I'm not putting gender roles to this. I'm only saying who said what. Okay, I'm not saying that this is a gender role thing. I'm just saying. Guy goes, man, I really feel like some sort of dessert right now. Girl goes, how about something like donuts? Guy goes, oh, you like donuts? Girl goes, babe, I always
Babe.
like donuts. And it's
I
like,
do that.
And it's like, okay, chill.
I do that
I wasn't
so
a-
many times.
Like, and the thing is, the girl is probably just sort of adding a sort of emphasis on, oh, I've always loved donuts. See, this is how that sentence should be said is, oh, I always love donuts. But instead, there's some sort of habit that we in relationships have where we go, babe, I love donuts. And the other person's got to be like, hold up, I wasn't trying
I
to.
always do that. Like, I always do that. I can't even think of a specific conversation because I always do that. Like, I always do. But, I mean, babe, I always like donuts.
The thing is the way you said it just now is perfectly fine. It's just what most of the when it comes up, or at least when I notice it, and I get this might be a little nitpicky and petty of me to notice it every single time, but I'm sorry. I studied communications in college. Like, this is the way my brain is wired. The way you said it just now is perfectly fine. Like, that was the tone that I would expect in that. But in many situations when we're not thinking about it, it actually comes off a little more aggressive than that. It's like, babe, I love donuts. What are you talking about? like it turns into something entirely different, you know? And so I just sort of put it out there. I don't know. Maybe some of the people listening to this are like, he's being petty Betty. Or maybe some people are going, yes, I never thought of it that way.
I mean, one, I've never been the softest person.
Mm-hmm.
But two, I like donuts. So I'm laughing away from the mic, so I won't have to edit it. But I love donuts. But, I mean, if it's not already obvious, though, I am not as calm as collected, and I can only aspire to be as calm and collected. And I think in moments like those, like, it's an overspill, too, of, like, the things I am enthused about, I guess. And it's weird because I never really thought about these different nuances, and I think it's not even just what is it? It's not even just expression, but it might also be culture. We as a people, Filipino, and how Filipino language is built and spoken is very tactless. And food
I think in a
is,
way, but the example I just gave
but it's
is
also
to Americans.
But it's also but it's also but how I speak, even if I speak in English, is heavily influenced by the Filipino psyche, my Filipino cultural psyche. So for example, when it comes to food, any conversation with food should be done with enthusiasm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's not donuts, but in that context, maybe like how aggressive I am to food in the context, I don't know.
Comes off as aggression to your partner.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? No, but you get what I'm trying to say, because there are certain things, there are certain cultural cues. Like, for example, food here. We never really talk about food in a way that's not enthusiastic or aggressive. Like, the reaction to food should always be, let's go food. Party.
Yeah, well, no, enthusiasm.
We take all the blessings. But my point
enthusiasm is fine. What I'm saying is when it's misconstrued as, babe, you should know this.
But so in Tagalog, if you have that conversation, and this is the conversation I'm having from my side, ano ka ba naman? Malamang, oo. That sounds mad to you, but in Tagalog, that's playful banter. That's what I mean when the cultural thing spills out. Because to us, enthusiasm, when directly translated from Tagalog to English, can sound aggressive. But Tagalog-wise, it's enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. So if you go like, babe, do you want this pink mic? And I go like, oh my God, duh, I love it. Gusto ko talaga yan. But in English, it's like, oh my God, yes, duh, I love it. I really want it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get my
I guess I get where you're coming from with the tone, and I think that in the context, in the example you just shared, it actually wouldn't come off too crazy to me. What would be more crazy is more like it'd be something like, babe, you know I love pink. It's just.
But babe, in Tagalog, it's ano ka ba? Alam mo naman gusto ko yan.
Yeah, exactly. So.
But in English, it's aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I realized this also in our relationship because, I mean, we speak in English mostly, but there are things where, and I've noticed this when we talk, there are things where you expect me to be saying something else because the connotation from how you know this phrase to be culturally is different from how I'm using it. Because how we speak English, even if that's the same language, have different cultural backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes there are very simple things that, whoa, my hands look weird. Whoa, whoa, wait, sorry. Um, I got distracted. Wait, what was I saying? Okay, so sometimes we are speaking the same language, but how we're used to speaking that same language is different contextually. That sometimes I realize we are not on the same page.
Yeah, because
But I mean,
certain
yeah,
phrases might be used. I mean,
yeah,
idioms are very specific to that culture type of thing.
yeah.
So if I say an idiom here and you never use it there, all you're hearing are
Or I
four.
use it differently. I
Yeah,
use it in the context of
well,
how I watch it on TV,
yeah.
which is
What
a
you're
whole
hearing
different
are four or
context.
five words in a completely different manner than what I'm
Yeah.
expressing.
And
Can't think of a specific example right now, but
yeah, it's hard. It's hard, but it's happened. Like I know it's happened to us. I
yeah,
remember like we've had this conversation. And I think it's weirdly specific to us because normally when couples have a language barrier, it's the language barrier, but because we speak the same language, but contextually it's different. Like it's harder to explain.
yeah, totally.
That because people are gonna be like, you understand each other, so what's the problem? And I'm like, yeah, but it's a whole divide.
And even
Yeah.
it's just as much, if I were just to speak from my perspective, it's just as much as me trying to speak to somebody in English from the UK, from Australia. There are so many
Yeah.
different ways
Yeah.
that things are used there. By the way, to get back on topic of our creator praise, I did this just came up right now as I said this. Well, there was a trip last year where Issa and I went to Japan with Oppo. And what was so funny about this trip, it was the two of us and Jaime, as far as the tech creators were concerned. Also, Justin C was there, a good homie.
There was
And
the four of us as far as tech creators were
yeah, that was
concerned.
it. And at some point, we noticed that Oppo had a lot, like, they had a really cool phone coming out. It had a lot of zoom capabilities. I still have some of my favorite photos of all time from there. And it made me fall in love with that phone so much because my reviews of devices, you can tell, are very much from the heart and very deep if I had some sort of like almost spiritual connection to what this phone provided to me. So, for example, the Pixel 3a went with us to Japan, and I loved the fact I can always think back to a shot of when I was holding the Pixel 3a in one hand and eating ramen with the other hand. Like, that's what that phone allowed me to do because it's a
Yeah.
smaller phone.
Yeah.
The Oppo Reno 10 times zoom, on the other hand, got me my just the most fantastic photo of Mount Fuji. So there's that whole thing. So I will always love that phone. I will always have love for the Oppo line because of stuff like that. And yes, some people out there might be like, yeah, of course they brought you to Japan, so you love it. And it's like, well, look at this photo. look at this photo. Anyway, one of the photographers there. Oh, to finish the story from a second ago, we asked Oppo halfway through the trip, like, so you definitely have a bunch of photographers here, you have models here, you're trying to show off the phone. What are we doing? And they were like, oh, you're hanging out with us.
Dude, I love them. Awesome.
That was so funny when they said that. We were just like, so do you want us to do anything with the phone? Do you want us to do anything like get some
It's
photos?
like,
And
do
they're all
whatever.
like, whatever you want. So to pay it
That's
forward,
true. That's true.
to pay it forward at the very least, you and I and Jaime, we actually did like basically our reviews that
Yeah.
week. So we made sure
But
to do content that
yeah.
week.
Yeah, and I absolutely love how they do that because how I like it was the infancy of, I don't know who watch my content here, but now I do these camera vlog tests. But that was basically it. That was optimal shooting solutions for my camera vlog tests, which I used to do and label them as travel videos.
Yeah.
But what they are, after all, camera vlog tests. I do them at home now because I'm stuck here. Anyway, go on.
So one of the photographers there, I will always give him a shout out because if not for him, I would not have glimpses of the majesty that is Japan. Ichiban. He
Yeah.
is one of our favorite, literally his handle on Instagram. If you want to see some amazing photography, videos, drone footage, all these things, especially from Japan, because he just went on a freaking road trip in Japan for no reason at all. And he just vlogged the entire thing. He had such a great like series of vlogs, and he has the same problem we have. Like, that was a year ago, that trip. He just got done with the vlog series like now.
What? I want to see. I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I'll
it's on
watch
his
it.
channel. If you find him on Instagram, he has so many Instagram followers. And I remember we asked him, "How do we get more Instagram followers? Like, do you have any tips?" And he was like, "Start 10 years ago."
Yeah.
Frank. Anyway,
Yeah.
he and I want to make sure I front loaded this with the praise of the man himself. He's such a great guy. His name's Ben, and he's just this wonderful creator.
We drank
Yeah, we were
in front
out
of a
really
Family
late
Mart.
night.
That
Great
was
night.
that was a highlight. Yeah, that was a highlight. I was hungover, but it was a highlight.
It's because of him, and this ties into everything. Like this is very much like tying it in a bow. Paying homage to a great creator. He also is from Australia, so that ties back to the idea that there's different Englishes and across the world and different phrases. And the reason why I bring this up is because he shared on his IG stories I want to say it's a TikTok or a reel of a black woman. She had sort of like that really close angle because she was in bed, and she was like, Australians out here being like nor. And she just starts cracking up because that's how Australians say the word no. It's not no. Australian.
Ah.
Yeah, the Australian accent is nor or something like that. And she's just cracking up the whole time. And it was her genuine laughter is so contagious. So I was cracking up too. So I responded to Ichban and I was like, that shit is so funny. And he goes, you know what's crazy? I don't hear a difference. He was like, it sounds perfectly normal to me.
Oh my gosh. That's funny.
He's the best.
That's
Ichiban, shouts out to you, buddy. Like,
Yeah.
we missed the hell out of you guys. Even a couple of the other homies from that trip, like Elmer and like a few other. It was such a great trip. And we spent way too many hours one particular night just walking around Tokyo. And it was just
Only
crazy.
to stop in front of a Family Mart and continue drinking there. And the only bathroom was like a Starbucks 2 streets away.
Yep. Where people were sleeping because they were
Yeah.
out drinking too. And the only refuge they have was a 24-hour Starbucks.
Yeah, yeah. So for context, in Japan, the trains stop at midnight, and usually people. So the last train, if you're ever in Japan, notice the difference between how quiet it is on the normal trains because it's even considered rude to speak on your phone
Yep.
versus what the last train sounds like when everyone is drunk and just hobbling to get home.
Yes.
So if you miss that train, usually they just stay out the whole night. So
My cousin
which makes sense.
My cousin, who taught English for some time in Tokyo or in parts of Japan, he once told us a story of how when he missed the midnight train, he just slept on a park bench. And it was in the middle of spring, so the weather
It's
was
Japan.
perfect. He had his bag, like he hooked his bag around his leg and put it underneath the bench, so that if someone tried to take it, he would feel it. And
Let me guess, no one tried.
it wasn't even any different than how he left it. And he got up and he took the train home. Because here's the thing, like some people out there might be saying like, well, why don't you just get like an Uber or get into a taxi? Trust.
It's expensive.
It is so expensive. Like David and I, when we went to Japan at the end of last year, were forced to take one because we had no other way to get to a certain location we wanted to go to without spending a lot of time. And we wanted to get there quickly. Yeah, that was a very expensive Uber. Holy crap. Anyway, back on topic. Just talking about more creators that we like. I mentioned earlier that most of the creators that I really enjoy are part of my upbringing on the YouTube world. So back in like 2000, let's say 2008 to 2012 was like my real formative years of YouTube. And that was also the golden age of Asian Americans on YouTube. So that's where my love of certain creators like Just Kidding Films, Just Kidding News, David So, Wong Fu Productions, a lot of these people were there. Musicians, like I'm as people learn about me as time with me goes along, I love covers because one of the coolest things about covers is if you love a song and you hear someone just kill it, that just adds to your appreciation of the song.
What year was this?
This was like 2010-ish, like the early 2010s. And of course, sporadically throughout the years until now, these people still do stuff. So obviously there's more. But yeah, like covers are always something I really like. So if you look at the history of my YouTube music playlists and likes, there are covers from like 2009 in it. So you have people like AJ Raphael and what's the name of the guy who was on American Idol? I forget his name, but he had a great cover of like of Sunday Morning, and
That's so funny.
it's such a great
Because
like group of people. And like you said,
yeah.
you just want to be friends with them. I always just wanted to be friends with those people, and I wanted to be part of that group. But I'm not cool
Yeah.
enough as an Asian American to be a part of that crew, I feel like.
It's funny you say that because 2010, what was I listening to? I was done with my emo phase. I was dating a musician.
You're not done
who
with
was-
your emo phase. You just talked about Coheed and
That's
Cambria.
That's true. I love them, but I mean, I stopped looking like I was emo. Okay.
I really want to see more of these emo phases. I'm always curious.
No, it was bad. It was not cute. Like now it's cute because I'm cute. I see me watering my own garden, care of
You
Ian
blooming.
and Chris. Me blooming, needing to water myself, not needing other people to water my garden, creating my blooming space. But now it's cute because I'm cute. It's funny. But when that was happening, it wasn't cute. Yeah. So I was sort of done with my emo phase, meaning I did not look it. But we were listening to a lot of rock, actually. Yeah, because I was dating this musician and they can be very protective of the things they listen to. I once had two friends from the two groups get into an actual legitimate fight because one said that rock sucked and one said that your hip hop and R&B is shit, and they just went like they were very mad.
I don't know how
But
you
that
can,
that was a
I don't know how you can say an entire genre of music is bad. Like even
I
I
mean-
like some country.
I mean, obviously I like country. There is good country music, but obviously it was because they were in the heat of the moment and one said something that insulted the other and then they get back. So these were like, you know, when there are couples and there are two friend groups and you try to mix them, but then there are always those two that are like almost not going to get along, but they're here for the both of you.
No.
What?
Everyone I know
real?
loves each other. Never had that problem before. I'm kidding.
Really?
I actually don't think I've ever had that problem specifically, but I know of the problem for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So these were these two people, and they were just like waiting to fight. So they did fight about that. But then again, this was during the time in my life where we were drinking so much. I once got too drunk that when the sun came out, I started crying because it was beautiful. I don't know what I was on. I'm not anyway. I was very like not it was so during that time was a crazy party time to me. So like it was a mix of Pink Floyd and then me being so drunk I'm crying to a whole Coldplay video. And people are like, Isa, what's wrong? And I'm like, it's so sad. It's so sad.
Coldplay.
And then
Huh.
yeah, it was a weird, crazy time, but it was like also a time of James Blunt and even Utada and even Utada. Like that's a crazy mix. And then I was listening
Yeah, we were-
to like
we
Skunk
had
and
an
Nancy and Air.
Like I brought up an idea of talking about obsessions growing up, and we're not doing that now because we're already 47 minutes into our
Oh
first
my
topic.
gosh.
But yeah, we will talk about it on another show. But she just mentioned Utada Hikaru, absolutely an obsession that I had growing
Yeah.
up. Absolutely. Anyway, go ahead.
So apparently the one type I have in men is that they like Utada.
Well, we have good tastes.
I know. I know. No, but it's so funny to me when you started playing Utada and you were like, I love her, because I have heard once before that if there were one person that I would absolutely get cheated on, it would have been Utada. So I'm just like, I mean, this was coming from someone who again values music. I mean, we all value music, but this in a very protective way. So you just
Gosh,
let go.
would that be an episode topic sometime in the future? Our
What?
what's the list? Our lists.
What list?
Do you know what that means? So when someone there's an innuendo behind the term, like I have a list, and it's like the 5 people who are their hall passes. They're
Oh.
the people that they as a couple agree. Yeah, like for example, if you ever had the chance with Brad Pitt, that's on your list. Like, that kind of thing.
I don't like that list because it's unfair. You're in LA.
Well, we got to take the
Why am I gonna stand here?
well, it's not based, the list is not based in any form of reality, so it could be literally
doesn't.
anybody.
The, again, where am I gonna stand here? Freaking Manny Pacquiao.
Well, no, I'm not saying, like I said,
Okay,
it's
I'm
not
sorry. I just saw my face. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
like I said, it's not based in any form of reality. So it's not even like I could probably pick someone from freaking Iceland if I wanted to, like it's if it came up. So it's not based in any form of reality. It's literally just like this fantastical thing that people think up sometimes. Anyway, like potential, I don't know, who knows? Might be part of a drunken episode sometime in the future. But yeah, the YouTubers that I watched back then, I still watch now. And as you probably know, well, Issa knows very well that I have a current like YouTube channel that is probably like a forever in my playlist channel is the Game Grumps. And here's the thing, like I've never quite articulated this on the show. The reason why I love channels like the Game Grumps, but of course we'll say in particular the Game Grumps, a lot of my life from high school onward, I was very much, as we said in a previous episode, what was the term that we used? Alone something. I was basically, I'm not going to say I was alone. I had many friends and I have many close friends.
Together alone? What? Alone
There's-
I can't remember.
There was
I
a
think
term
that's
that I used. I was like a lone ranger. Not ranger. It wasn't ranger, but there was a term I used.
Oh, wait, sorry. I thought you were saying alone. And then when you said Alone Ranger, I'm like, that makes sense. Alone Ranger. Alone Ranger.
Uh-huh.
Is that funny?
It's,
It's not funny to you?
it's the term. It's just words to me. Like,
No, I was thinking Alone Ranger. Alone as one word.
Yeah.
Enola spelled backwards is alone. Have you seen that?
they're watching it right now. My
Oh, I
parents are.
love it. I love it. Go on.
Yeah. So like lone. So I'll take
Okay.
away the word
Uh-huh.
So I used the term a previous episode to describe the fact that I'm basically by myself a lot of the time. Especially in college when I graduated and I got a job down in San Diego for a couple of years. I lived in a studio apartment in downtown San Diego. Still one of my favorite places I've ever lived in because of where I was. I did not take advantage of it as much as I should have. Honestly, I should have had drunken, crazy Thursdays and Friday nights. Like, honestly, that should have been what my life was. Though I was in like a 4-year relationship by that
Yeah,
point.
but you guys, it's you guys. Your clubs close at 3. What the fuck is up with that?
Yeah, I know. At least I could take like a 2-minute Uber back to my house.
Yeah.
Granted, Uber wasn't really a
mean-
thing back then. Not yet.
And also, like, your cover charges are crazy expensive. What is
Exactly.
up with that?
Exactly. Like most of my paycheck went towards me living in that studio apartment. Anyway, studio apartment. I'm all by myself. So one of the things that I ended up doing a lot was listening to podcasts, watching YouTube channels, and some of the YouTube channels that I always had literally 24/7 in the background were talk shows and later on gaming videos.
Game Grumps.
Yeah, like Game Grumps weren't even a thing back then.
yeah.
Not at that point. But because I had
know-
trained myself to have something in the background all that time, that way it felt like someone was there with me.
You know how much? You know what's proof that you listen to so much Game Grumps?
Game Grumps?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You want proof? Okay, let me rephrase it. You want proof about how much you listen to? That's still wrong, right? Do you want me to prove that you listen to so much Game Grumps?
What?
I can do this. I'm not so grump, and where are the Game Grumps? And I have never once looked up Game Grumps or like I know their intro music.
Yeah. it's the intro to every video. And back when Issa and I first started dating and realized I was into this channel, their videos were only 10 to 11 minutes long. So imagine if you have it on in the background, every 10 minutes you're hearing the intro. So it comes up. Now they do longer
When I
form.
hear that, yeah, when I hear that, I'm like, Josh was here. Josh was here.
So yeah, and you know what? Honestly, like, I wouldn't. There are reasons why the people that I follow on YouTube, these creators, like, it's not just the content they create; it's also who they are as people. So the Grumps are
Yeah.
ultimately very nice people who are super nerdy in a way, yes, but they are ultimately people that I really like. The Just Kidding crew, they're like, and not to put words in their mouths, but they have said this on many occasions. They come from like rough backgrounds, and they are comedians now who do these channels. And honestly, like, I know that if I were to show up and be part of one of their Just Kidding News sessions, which is an ultimate like weird goal of mine, I wouldn't be able to keep up with them, because the moment they hit one of my buttons a little bit, like they roast me just right, I'll clam up, because I'm not that. I'm more sensitive than they are.
I'm just trying to. I'm just trying to convince people I'm funny.
Well, I
To laugh with me, not at me.
well, that's the thing. Like, I look up to the JK crew because like they're very hearty people. Ultimately, they're very funny people, but it comes from a place of heartiness.
Yeah. You know who I watched? I mean, okay. You know who I watch. You know I watch Christine with an H, because Christine with an H talks about silly, stupid things, but she also has a day job as a statistician for the Canadian government, which, again, duality of man, you know? I love that. I love that with people. I love it when people have, like, show their different selves and it's not just a brand. And, like, she's just very sensible. And I like sensible content creators, and I like that they can laugh at themselves. So for you, if it's like about the hardiness, the goofiness, to me that's the thing that hooks me. Like when they make sense, but also the personality, sure. But it's like it's that they can laugh at themselves, and it's they can do stupid shit but still be sensible people. Like, I don't know if I did justice to the character, but that's how it's coming out right now. But I remember this because today Julian posted a video on their dogs. If you guys don't know who Julian is Jenna Marble's boyfriend. And so I realized, because unlike you, I did not grow up with YouTube.
Yeah,
I really only started watching YouTube
I
when I got into
remember-
tech, weirdly.
I remember Jenna Marble's early career when she was doing the more like shock
Girls
value.
like things.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
doing the slightly more shock value things. I remember when her intro was a picture of her with football shoulder pads on, like a model,
Yeah.
and it was this weird
Yeah.
like squeaky sound. That was the squeaky sound of
Yeah,
her intro.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I just got into YouTube late, like very late, considering I make YouTube videos. So I know that you know this, but when I started making YouTube videos, I was confused as to how this whole thing worked. So I was like, wait, how? Anyway, so I started rewatching. I'm saying rewatching because this will all make sense in the end. So I started rewatching Jenna Marble's videos because I love her dogs. And also one of my dogs who passed away, like her ugly dog, her nasty boy Kermit. My dog looked like that. He was also nasty but very well loved. So he reminds me of my dog. And I kid you not, I am so into the dog content that legitimately Joshua's seen me watch a whole 30-minute video of Jenna training her dog Marbles to sit on the carpet. And I was watching this and Joshua was like, well, did he sit? And I'm like, I don't know. I fell asleep at the end.
Because
But I just kept.
She was right here on the bed and watching this video, and I was like, you know what? She's watching a long video about this dog, which I'm sure is cute. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's bad. And then 20 minutes later, after I'm done doing whatever I'm doing at this computer right here, I'm sitting at, I just look over and I go, well, did he sit?
I was like, I don't know, but he's cute. But so I am this invested in the dogs. If you haven't dropped off the internet, you know that Jenna left the internet, and I respect her for that, and I get that, and that's on her own prerogative, and it's for her. She's watering her own garden, So let's let her water her own garden and bloom in her own way.
She
If
made
that
a
entails not being on the
she made a incredibly pragmatic choice there, because she knew that even if she would explain with the help of other creators who were in that very video people were calling her out on. There was a video, this is a gross oversimplification of the story. I just want to give the context. There was a video that she did where in it she had sort of like a rice hat on and she was acting like an Asian person. However, the context of that clip is another creator that I love, Timothy Delgado, who is now known as Timothy Chantarantsu because he's using his full name now, his actual Thai name. He's literally standing right next to Jenna in that clip, shaking his head at her, and the line that follows is, "Sorry, that was racist. Forget I ever did that." And she throws away the hat.
So yeah.
So the whole point of the whole point of that section is this is not cool. The thing is, she made a very pragmatic choice to still get off the internet because she knows that there are so many people out there who won't understand that, who will still call her out in the comments and say, "Yeah, but you're a racist Karen" or something like that, and it's unfair.
So it's funny because I've been watching her a lot before she left. But I realized she was one of the very first people I watched because I used to watch her stupid girls do videos. Like she had a video of her putting makeup in the car, and I'm like, yeah, oh my god, I fucking do that. I literally used to drive to work and was doing my mascara. Like driving. I'm not kidding. Like, and it's the shit I pulled and I'm like, oh my god. I mean, sure, looking back now, of course, if you watch it in the context of now, it's oversimplification, blah, blah, blah. But like, during that time, it was funny. And that ties back to what Josh was talking about. What happened was that Jenna does very different content from what she used to do, but there were people finding her old content and calling her out on it. And if you watch a lot of her videos, you get the sense that she's a person who wants to make things better.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, it was just too much for her, and she was just like, you know what, this is not healthy for me. I don't want to be here. It's not it.
Yeah.
And she is now not there. But moving on, Julian did post an update on their dogs, and there's Marbles and Kermit and Peach and Bunny. Oh my god, I know all of their dogs, but they're doing fine. They're great. Let's not be alarmed. That is all. This is what the podcast was for, to update you all on these dogs.
I actually have gotten into more dog content on YouTube recently as well. Milper the husky. Oh my goodness, Milper. Millie is the cutest husky ever. Like, I'm such a fan of them. They're I believe they're from the UK. I haven't dove into their lore a whole lot. There's another one from, I think, the Midwest, Tucker something. It's a golden retriever, and as Isa knows, golden retrievers are probably top 3 dog for me.
I want the ugly dogs,
which is fine. We can have one of each. The thing is, this Tucker.
So we have 7.
Tucker.
One ugly, one black, one white, one golden retriever, one short husky. Golden retriever.
The thing is, I think Tucker is getting a little old because it's the golden retrievers who have like the droopy side of the mouth. So, this whole thing. But there's a super cute video of the challenge was, can you leave your dog alone with like a whole cooked chicken? And she brings she takes the chicken out of the oven, she sits down, and then her phone goes off, and she's acting the whole time, obviously. So she picks up the phone and she leaves, and the camera is still on Tucker, and Tucker's just sitting there like, I will not make eye contact with this chicken. She comes back, and sure enough, Tucker has not eaten the chicken. So to reward Tucker, she takes a piece of the chicken and then gives it to Tucker. But then in real life, she's not acting anymore because the challenge is over. She goes, oh, I got, like, her hand is dirty from the chicken. Oh, I gotta get a napkin. So she gets up to go get the napkin. The moment she leaves, Tucker eats the whole chicken. Dog content is honestly, like, people say cat content rules the internet. Honestly, for us, it's dog content. Like, it's great stuff, honestly.
I love dogs. There are no words to express how much
it is a life goal. It is a life goal for me to finally have a dog, especially a dog that I really want.
There's just so much work, though.
Sure,
like, so I've said this in another episode, but I just pick up poop now because we have no help. 7 dogs and all that poop. Bigger poop for the big German Shepherd. But so now it's not even just poop. These dogs are trained to pee in a corner and they've decided to pee everywhere. I cleaned up pee 5 times yesterday. And it's not just like mopping it up. It's like washing the whole area because when dogs poop or pee, like the scent stays and that's where they keep on pooping and peeing. 5 times. I felt like I was going swimming with all the water I was like throwing at things. Like it's so much liquid in their tiny little bodies.
What's the phrase? How can something so small create so much?
Oh, I know. Remember, I cleaned up a dead ass rat in the middle of all the poop
Yeah.
and all the pee.
Well,
Like they can make crazy messes.
well, speaking of poop, I think it's the end of the show. We've gone just over an hour.
How do you segue from poop to speaking of poop, I am poop. That's done, you guys. That's it for today.
Speaking of poop, we are at the end of the show. So was there anything that you wanted to like shout out, or you wanted to like do any housekeeping at the end of the show real quick?
Shouting out, I saw that my girl Sam. Don't you guys say that, my girl Sam. Wait, that doesn't mean we're together, right? It just means like she's my friend, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my girl.
It's like when I talk about Kyle, and I'm like, that's my boy. Like.
I mean, you guys could almost be together, though.
True. Still,
you did have that whole. Okay, let's not.
That's what a good friendship is. Probably people.
Yeah.
You know what? Across Japan, people thought me and David were a couple.
You guys are too. So
wow.
I mean, just saying.
Shout out to David.
You did travel to Japan together.
Shout out to David and Mel.
Yeah. He did literally just go, I want to go to Japan. And you went like, sure.
From China. Yeah, we were like already there. So I was like, all right, fine, let's do it. I was like, I remember my thought process. My thought process was, you know what? 2019 is about to end. This was in December. I was like, you know what? I would love to end the year at my happy place. And also Tokyo's cool too. I'm just kidding.
David has to listen to this episode.
I hope David hears that. He'll love that.
What was I saying? I forgot what I was saying.
Your girl, Sam.
Okay, so comment. Yeah, Sam commented that you definitely do know about your notebooks because Rodeo notebooks are good.
Oh yeah. Rodeos are great.
So
Made in France,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, as long as they don't cost like $75.
No. These are fine. I just know that there's French in this notebook. I don't know if it's made in France or is it Germany? I forget. I'm spreading misinformation.
It's okay.
Where's the page? Where does it say it? I don't know. You know what? It was one of those things where there was like a little like thing here, and it said everything. So. Though I will say, as an update, again, I want to remind everybody the things we said in that episode about being productive and all these tips that we were giving. Remember, no one's perfect. We are we are perfect examples of that. But because I said we're not perfect, and we are perfect examples.
Yeah, I know.
Of that.
What?
It was wordplay. It was wordplay.
I know, but I'm saying. Self-talk, babe. We are productive.
Well, I'm giving a concrete example here.
We are working.
After that day, I had a perfect rodeo.
Okay, sorry. It looked like I was having an earthquake, but I just really kicked my table where everything was on. I'm sorry.
After that particular podcast, I had a perfect like a day of documenting in the notebook. I had my 5-minute journal in there, gratitude journal, and I had all my tasks in there. That's the only entry since then so far. So I have to get back on it, and I will. But yeah, it's one of those things where when you write down things that first day, you think what you wrote down is in your head. So you just kind of wing it the rest of the days. But no. Like, even if you have it in your head, what things you know you have to do, you still got to write it down. It still has to be documented. It still has to be there so you can cross it out. Because if you never physically cross it out, is it ever truly done? Like, that's the thing you have to get your mind into.
I started doing the tick boxes because of you.
Mm-hmm.
See? Oh my God.
I still really enjoy the concept of bullet journaling because it keeps things very simple. So yeah, if anybody out there wants a quick way of getting into a to-do list, a task list, a task list for a notebook, bullet journaling is a great start. Anyway, on my end for housekeeping, like I don't know how many people have made it to the end of the episode this far, but I do want to remind everybody, let us know what stuff you want us to talk about in the comment sections.
Yeah.
Tweet us out at Technically Together.
Or topics. We have a whole list now. As per Joshua's advice, I have a whole list now. So this morning, we had a list of things to pick out.
Yeah.
Pick from.
I'm using an app now for creating teasers for the show, as people have probably seen on social media. I'm going to be doing my best to make like one a day that Isa and I post, not only on the main account for the podcast, but also our personal accounts. So with that in mind, if you are listening to this because you saw those teasers, thank you for hitting that swipe up or for that click, and thank you for joining us. In any case, yeah, I think that is everything as far as housekeeping is concerned. Shouts out to everybody that's listening. Thank you so much.
Wait, I'm sweating. Okay. No, I'll just wrap it up in the extra. We have that now. We have an end screen and an intro screen. Intro monologue. Outro monologue.
Oh, okay. Are we still doing the
gotcha.
Are we still doing the ending line?
Yeah.
Okay. I did the intro.
No, sorry. I was saying we have that because I was going to say find us here. And I'm like, wait,
oh, that whole thing.
I can say that in the extra. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Wait, I'm sweating. Wait, how do we do the other extra though? I don't.
Well, I did the intro, so you can do the final line. Literally do it any way you want. You know what the final line is, though. Or should I do it?
I know what the final line is.
Well, no, okay. Well, let's see. We're getting there. All of the different aspects to this podcast, we're getting to that point. But we will get there. And that's why we are technically together.
Yes! Amazing. Thanks, babe. That's it for this week's Technically Together. And guys, did you notice that this was by far our best podcast recording? I didn't screw it up, not one bit. Guess the podcast lesson for the week is that if you keep on trying, you'll eventually get it. Thank you so much for listening, you guys. Until next week, we are on YouTube Technically Together for the video version and all the places where you usually listen to your podcasts.